Hi, welcome to the Pivot Point Show. My name's Chris, and come with me on a series of interviews about people's life changes. Today we're going to talk to Bill Neal, who's gone from professional baseball player to golf course builder, and now runs his own multi-million-dollar business, Sweet As Popcorn, here right in New Zealand. He's gone through some major life changes, and as we go through the interview, he's talked about what things has made him successful and how he's turned changes in his life into strengths. Welcome to the Pivot Point Show. So welcome to the show, Bill, and thanks so much for coming here. I really was impressed with what you've been able to achieve with your business, so I thought I'd get you into the show and talk to you about your business and the journey that you've had. So can you tell us a little bit about the business itself and what is Sweet As Popcorn?
Well, Sweet As Popcorn is a food manufacturing business that we're mainly in New Zealand, also international now with Thailand and China and Hong Kong aboard. But mainly it's just growing the popcorn here in New Zealand and selling it throughout the food chain supply that we have. It's been very exciting all the way from starting it to now growing it from all the way from the field to the shelf. So it's been pretty exciting to get everything under one umbrella.
And what gave the original idea to you? What was that all about?
Well, the original idea came from when I was looking for a business to look from New Zealand to America. So I was wanting to find something that the Kiwis were producing and take it over to the big market in America. And in the process of going back and forth, I found that this popcorn was actually, I really liked it. I was like, oh, this is a great product. So I did a little research on the business side of it and thought, no, this could definitely be viable in New Zealand. So that's where it originally came from.
So having that idea and bringing it across, obviously it's a challenge. Was it something you've done before? Tell us a bit about your history. Where did you?
No. It's definitely
start?
brand new. You know, it's a new venture. It's not an easy thing to start into something new. I had the confidence of other business, of successful business of building golf courses, but not to say that I came into this with a lot of money either. Due to divorces and stuff. Yeah. Not divorces, divorce. Yeah. You tend to lose a lot of your wealth, and so it was a start over period, and it's kind of inspiring to other people to see that you can start over late in life with next to no money and make it happen. And it's a lot harder, it's very trying, you got to be determined and persistent, but if you add those things, you can definitely make it.
The golf course, and going from a golf course business to a popcorn business would seem quite extreme and quite different. And
yeah, well, you can imagine what my family and friends said. They were like, "You've got to be kidding me! You know nothing about food industry. You work in construction. The construction mentality is quite a bit different, and I've had to have really good managers teach me that doesn't fly in this industry, and it's a real production versus building mentality. So I've had to learn a lot. It's been really exciting learning new things. I'm glad I switched. I don't recommend it to everybody, but I do say that you can make it work. Especially if your back's against the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always motivation that gets you there. And tell me a little bit about your beginnings. You talked to me before about growing up in America, getting into sport and those kinds of things.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to do very well in baseball, and so I played a couple years of pro baseball, and that helped give me the confidence to be able to do it. I believe you have to have a lot of confidence in business and determination to stay in business. As you know, a lot of businesses fail, and I think a lot of the reason is that the people really don't have the confidence when they need it the most. They might start doing real well at the beginning and all happy and start making money, but then when they have to do strategic planning and make forward decisions, it tends to scare them off, or they don't think they have the confidence. And really, everybody has the ability. They have to just draw it out of themselves. And I think it's an important thing for people in business to do, is have that confidence in yourself.
And maybe the sporting aspect give you a bit of tenacity and a bit of, was that?
Yeah, absolutely. To play any pro being a businessman is a profession, and it's like anything else. To play any pro sports, you have to do a lot of preparation, you have to do a lot of practice and a lot of training. If you're going to go play baseball, there's all kinds of schools and camps set up for you, and the coaches know the story. Whereas in business, it's more of an individual thing, and who's going to teach you. So you need to get mentors, you need to get people that have already done it to help you guide along, because you know the answers, but you're not sure what order to put them in, and one thing out of order can make a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's that knowledge that you have, not only the tenacity, but the knowledge that you build from all your experiences throughout life that come together and help you push through and get through. Can you tell me about some of the challenges you've had starting Sweet As Popcorn? I mean,
well, some of the biggest challenges are to get in the grocery chain. You have to have a good product. They have 200 or 300 a day probably go in there, or a week anyway. So to get in, you're going to have a good product. It's not easy. It's a challenge. You're dealing with a lot of different types of people. In my case, I was dealing with a lot of new things. I didn't even know how to go through the motions. It's cost me a lot in business as market share by not knowing. But have hired professionals now to put us in the position. But you can't do it all yourself. If you think you can do it all yourself, which is what I thought, it just doesn't work that way. The success came after I realized I couldn't do it all myself, and started putting smarter than me people in, which isn't too hard to do.
So it's understanding, maybe perhaps, getting things going is obviously a one-man band. You've got the spark of the idea and develop it, but learning to recognize perhaps that you're weak in some areas and having that ability to look at yourself honestly, is that kind of important?
It's hugely important to know where your limitations are and know what you don't like to do. If, for example, I'm the world's worst organizer, believe it or not, I can't organize. So I have a PA, immediately got a PA. She does all my organizing, fantastic. Now I'm organized and everybody thinks I'm organized, but it's only because I've realized that I'm not, and it's an important thing. Same with taxation. You get a good accountant. Maybe you've done it in the past yourself, but if you're going to step it up a notch, you have to free yourself up to work, on the business instead of in the business. And so, without the free time to do it, then all you're doing is going around the same mountain every day.
Tell me a little bit about your own routines, I guess, because that's kind of important as well, and managing your own mental state. And I think perhaps that sports background has given you that toughness of mind.
Well, it's a discipline. You need discipline. A lot of failures in business I see is people go out, I've got my own business now, I have my own time. They don't manage their time well. Right. A perfect example is when I first started different businesses, I would work 8 hours a day. Well, then I found that wasn't enough time. So I'd work 9 to 5. Well, then I had to start working 5 to 9. So 5 in the morning till 9 in the morning was 4 hours that I got. And then 9 to 5, or 5 to 9 in the afternoon, when I had, so I added another job, another 8-hour job to my own business. So a lot of people are wondering, how can I do my own business and have a full-time job? Well, that's what I did, and that was out of necessity. And it's amazing how those 8 hours you work for yourself are so much more productive than they are when you're working for somebody else.
When we met last, you talked too about your morning routine and coming into work early, doing that 5 to 9 in the morning, and doing that prep time before your staff even turned up on. Has that been pivotal to your?
That's probably the single most quantum leap that my business has taken. When I started getting up in the morning, I did it at 4 in the morning. Between 4 and 5 was when I could really strategic plan for the day, for the week, for the month. Once you get in a routine and you do that time to yourself, where you ask yourself the hard-hitting questions and you give yourself the answers, or the time to get the answers, those are real important, because then you're building confidence in yourself. You're seeing that you can make decisions, you're making good decisions. The ability to reverse a bad decision quickly is very important. You just make a bad decision, just change it. It's the opposite of what you did is the right decision. So learning from your mistakes is very important. But that time to give yourself and listen to yourself, ask yourself the hard-hitting questions, give yourself the answers, give yourself the time to research the answers, but don't give up on yourself, because it's hard to look in the mirror going, well, I knew I should have done that later. And I asked myself, and then I didn't do it. So,
yeah, and I think that this life is short.
Yes.
And you don't want to look back and say, oh, well, I had this idea, but I never really actioned it. What if? That's the question that
I've got some ridiculous what ifs. Honest to God, wheelies on luggage is my idea. 20 years ago, everybody. I had it. Ask my ex-wife, she'll tell you. And I didn't act on it. And it was a multi-million-dollar mistake. To look at them now and buy them for $150, I was just, oh, why didn't I do this?
I mean, there's been mistakes throughout everybody's life, and I think, how do you respond when you make a mistake? What's your way of dealing with a mistake as a person, as a business person?
Lately, I've learned that I love mistakes.
Right.
I used to hate them. Who made the mistake, and let's scold that person. That's completely wrong. Who cares who made the mistake? You almost need to give a gift to that person who made a mistake, because you look at it now as, how are we going to learn? How are we not going to make this one? Especially if it's a big mistake, we'll never make this one again, and then we'll put systems in place not to. So mistakes they're costly, but they're cheaper than ignorance. Right. And ignorance, a lot of times I've paid a lot of money because I didn't know. Tried something wrong, cost me a lot of money.
I think for me personally, I try and log and write out every mistake that I make. And understand it from different angles. So writing it down gives me that concrete step away from being in my head all the time. What was the job? What was the mistake? What did I actually learn from it? How can I fix it? And it's all written down, so it's black and white, so I can actually step back and get less emotional about. And do you find, how do you deal with your emotional sort of ups and downs of business? Because everybody goes through yes, we're doing really well, and there's the rah-rah period and well done, but there's also the periods where things are hard. How do you work
emotions
your
are
way through
very, very critical to a business. There should be no room for emotions in a business, but everybody brings them in. I've made decisions that were emotional and they were wrong. I've made decisions that were emotional and they were right. So I don't know where to draw the emotional line. I know that if you're up too high, come down to the middle, or if you're down too low, come up to the middle. That seems to be the place that good decisions are made. Maybe on the outsides, but then again, you have that beautiful decision on the outside of the scale that you run with, and it's a big winner. So with emotions, keep them in check, but definitely use them to your advantage.
So when you started your business and it got rolling and you have identified, this help, that help, and things started coming together, were you able to sort of sit back and go, it's really working, or have you been in the cold face all that time? I mean, how do you...
I've been going for 4 years now, and I've changed the business plan 2 different times in 4 years. The original business plan would have been 100% already and chugging along. I've added 2 more phases, which was microwave popcorn, and then I emotionally got a decision to do a popcorn bar. I saw Snickers and how many they sell every day and how bad it is for the kids, and thought, well, here's a popcorn alternative. So emotionally, I tied into that. It's starting to pick up right now, but it hasn't made any money. It's been an emotional venture, but I think it's going to start paying off real soon as more people see it. We're in all the gas stations now, and actually try it and see, wow, this is tasty and it's healthier. So that's going to go good. You just have to be careful on new products and thinking that everything you do is good. Have a couple winners, and then you think, oh, this next one will be a winner. Not necessarily work that way.
So it's really sort of understanding the market and understanding not just what you think, but what your
Well,
customers think?
the best way to do it is to listen to your consumer and figure out who is your market and then ask them directly. So anytime I want to do anything new, I'll go out and give samples away at the stores, and I'll talk to the people and say, what do you think? What other flavors? What kind of packaging? What kind of sizing? They tell you what they want, and they're the buyers. So that seems to be the best information you can get. Give it away. Give your product away. That's your advertising dollar. We don't advertise. The Kiwis advertise for us. It's fantastic. If you have a great product, they'll tell 5 or 10 people. If you have a terrible product, they'll tell more. And so we're lucky enough to have a very good product that I just can't stop eating after 4 years myself. It's crazy.
Well, you love the product. I mean, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
So what are the sort of top tips you might have for somebody who's, I guess, not a lot of people are doing popcorn or food, but in the business in general sense, what would be the top few tips that you might give?
Well, I'd say work backwards in whatever business you have. It's very important to understand where you want to go with the business. And so I was able to, from a manufacturing point of view, I was able to look at what's the capacity of my equipment.
Right.
And then I could say, okay, if everything went perfect and I went 24/6, then I can produce this much, and then you can work your numbers off of that. I think it's very important to work backwards and have a goal of, whether it's a monetary or an hourly goal, how many hours you want to work a week. Yes. Anything like that, have a goal, a realistic one. If you sit down and have the time, give yourself the time in the morning, usually in the morning's the best, the evenings you're too tired, to do planning for yourself. And this is where I want to go. It's a lot of what ifs. The first day you sit down there and you sit at your desk, and it's very important to have a workstation that is comfortable. Yeah. Have yourself all your music, have your water, your tea, your coffee, everything at your hands, all your communication right at your fingertips. Make it a comfortable, have plants and pictures and whatever makes you comfortable so you want to go to that workstation. Yeah. Once you get in that position, then realize that this is my time for myself. This is my ideas time. Right. Give yourself 15, 20 minutes and what's the new ideas? It's hard. You're sitting there going, okay, your time. Your time still, and but that you get easier and easier as you give that time. You might get up and say, well, I had no ideas, but I had a nice cup of tea and I enjoyed my time. So that's real important. That's a big tip. Be real careful when you grow too fast. I didn't realize you can go out of business by growing too fast, and we came very close to doing that.
Wow.
All of a sudden, for example, if you sell $100,000 worth of product in 1 month, and it costs you $75,000 to do that, but you don't get paid your $100,000 until the next month, all of a sudden, you doubled your business in 1 month, and you're doing 150. Who pays that, Yeah. And so your cash flow, so I brought in a fantastic accountant, and she just took right over and caught it just in time and has been playing catch up ever since. So I was on this, mentality that up as fast is great, and too fast isn't good.
Yeah, you've got to really balance all the elements, and I guess it comes back to understanding that when you need help, and it's okay to ask for help. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, that's the key. Is when you start your own business, you're wearing 15 different hats. Get those hats off and make somebody else wear them as quick as possible, to where you're wearing the future business hat.
Mm. So where to from here for you? I mean, you've got these 3 products in the market at the moment, and you've got a path ahead. Can you?
Yep, we've got 3 more products coming out this year. We're trying real hard to get into a countdown, so that's another 50% of the market. So at this stage, for the next 6 months, we're going to concentrate mainly on the local markets, get solid in those, and then all of next year will be the international market. We're starting our Australia division here next week, so it's all on that.
Well, congratulations, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you'd like to add? I mean, you've done several different types of things in your life, and it's amazing.
Well, everything that you're doing right now is you're learning what you need to for the future. I've used every single thing. I was in real estate and pilot's license and all these different things. Believe it or not, they come into play. So what you're learning right now is what you need to know for your future. And I'd say mainly realize that you can do it, that you have the tools. You don't need people other than support people. You know that if you stepped out and you've started a business already, you already have what it takes. So now you've got to refine your tools and realize to be a super athlete, to be an excellent entrepreneur, I've got to train and practice like the best. And there's a lot of great help out there. People will give you the help and just ask them.
Cool. Last question really is the environment we're in at the moment. The worldwide, the economies are starting to pick up, some faster than others. How do you think the world is going to go in the next?
This is a fantastic time to be living here in New Zealand. America just took a dozen-year hit. Japan's been taking a huge hit for years and haven't recovered. China's been on a roll for so long, it's going to drop. But it's an exciting time to be in New Zealand, Australia. Our trades, we have great government going on now. Our trade is picking up. It can only go better. The perception of New Zealand around the world is clean and green and beautiful, and we want to keep that up because it is one of the best places in the world to live. I think if you can't make it right now, you can't make it anywhere. You just don't have it. So I'd say good luck to everybody and charge on and take a chance.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you on the show. Thank you much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, and best of luck.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks for watching, and I really hope you got some takeaways from Bill's story. If you like what you watched today and would like to see more, please support this channel through our Patreon page in the links below. You can sponsor us for as little as $1. Coming up is a journey woman who has gone through tremendous change from her life in the early 50s and 60s and her personal life later on. Jenny McGee has had her fair share of ups and downs and really turned them into successes. Her book, A Bold Life, tells the stories of people she met as she travelled on her OE after packing up her life in New Zealand, selling her house and hitting the road. Now she helps other people navigate their own pivot points. Thanks for watching, and I hope you really enjoyed the interview today.